Hi everyone, here's one that's aimed at you, Erin, right? But again, these are ideas that hopefully other people can use. I'm just creating the letters BLM, which relates to Erin's brief. The image, the imagery and the lettering I use really are not significant. I'm not trying to make a statement, but it's the way I combine them that I think is interesting and that might help you out. So, as usual, take that text, turn it into an image by screenshotting it, and then crop it, and you get a nice tidy image there. And then go on to Pixlr. Now, when you open Pixlr, there's a few different things to choose. It gives you two options of program to use. I accidentally hit the top one. It's actually the bottom one, so I went back and I hit the bottom one, and I can't see what it's Pixlr X. Okay, that's the one I've been showing you guys how to use. So the left hand side it says open image, and that's to start your own editing process. So I've gone with open image there, which takes me to my images. It might be the case that you can't see the image menu coming up. Oh no, here it is, photo library. So BLM. So you're now going to watch me, because I didn't bother editing the film, so you're now going to watch me get it all wrong for a while. But I think that might be helpful for you to show you that my process is very, very, very blundering and full of errors, but errors are good. So there we go. So I've got BLM, that's in one layer. Now, if you know of Photoshop, you'll know about layers. So I'm going to now, at the wee plus sign at the right-hand side, bottom of the screen is wee plus sign. That's how you get another layer. And I've chosen an image layer. It's asked me to open an image. The image layer is on top of the second layer is on top of the first layer. I don't know how to switch them. I'm trying to do that just there. I can't find a way to switch the layers. That wee up and down beside the plus sign might be something to do with it. Anyway, so I spend a while working on that. Resizing in this program is also very annoying, I found. And I'll speak to you a wee bit more about that later. What you're watching just now is me going down a dead end, trying things out, trying to get this guy the right size. Oh, right here, a bit like constrained proportions in Pages. If you notice the size option menu, there's a wee X there that sometimes looks like a padlock, sometimes looks like an X. Okay, so that's your proportions being constrained. So where it says transform there, you've got your width and your height measurements, and also in terms of X and Y axis there, and there's a wee X. So when you hit that X, it becomes a padlock. That means that when you change the size of both the height and width at the same rate. And if you press the padlock to get the X, that means you can stretch it. It means you don't have to change the height when you change the width. So that's what I did there in order to stretch that. Now I've realised that I don't want to use that, so I want to start a new document. So I can't even remember how I figured out how to do that. I may have just gone onto the home page. Oh, I closed that one I'd started on and just open another image. This time I'm opening the photograph first, okay? So I'm going to show you how to put photos showing through, well, you'll see it, but photograph first. Now another image with the text, so although we see it's text, the computer thinks it's an image. And here I struggle with resizing. I mean, I really struggle with resizing this year, so I do get a little bit annoyed eventually. All right, there you go. Right, so listen, I've just gone to that cutout tool. I've swiped over the magic wand one, swiped over the black bits, and now that means I can see through the lettering. Now, I do, like I say, struggle with resizing here, and I think I end up also accidentally, sometimes basically, this program will switch the layer you're working on. Here's me stretching something without, meaning to stretch it, so this all goes a bit wrong. Right. Look, if you notice, that's just gone onto the bottom layer. I didn't ask it to do that. You've got to be careful. Keep paying attention to what layer you're working on. You can see which layer you're working on because of the blue border around it. That's what tripped me up here. Now, I could have just made my point using the letters LM, but for some reason I got a little bit hung up on getting this right. And what I found was I had to, and eventually I figured this out, if I zoom out so that everything's much smaller, I can control it a lot better. But, yeah, I mean, look at this. I'm here for ages. This is actually quite a good way to choose what bit of the image underneath you want to come through. Remember, you could collage images together, then stick lettering on top. And then after this bit, I'm going to put it into Pages to do a wee bit more to it. Because I find Pages a wee bit easier to manage than this. Okay, so my attempt at resizing has now involved actually changing the numbers there for the width and the height, but I've no idea what these numbers refer to, so I am just completely guessing in the dark. There you go. What is it, 10,000, 1,001? Who knows? And eventually I come to my senses. I realise that that's not really working for... Oh, look, it's even just the top measurements disappeared. So I use the back button, right? I use undo. At the very bottom of the screen, there's an undo button. So I just undo and undo and undo. Oh, and then I realise that I've lost the lettering entirely. And then I decide to add another layer. But at this point, I decide to not make any of the mistakes I've made previously. Oh my goodness, the videos I get you guys to watch. Oh, here we are. Right, I probably should have edited all that, but listen, I do think it's worth you guys seeing mistakes. Okay, so please can I have now figured this out? That I just have to pinch the screen and zoom out to achieve far better control. I can feel it. I'm nearly there. Well, actually not according to the video, because it looks like I do this for a wee while. So, while we're waiting for something to happen there, we can, right, okay, so what this allows you to do is get bits of photos that are in the shape of letters. So the thing that I end up with here, I can now take that into, what's it called, Pages, and I can delete bits of background there. Look, there we are, I figured it out. So if I make everything much smaller, you can manipulate everything. It turns out, to change size, touching the image here, you have to use the corners. Other programs, it's not the corners, but turns out this one you use the corners to change the image. Okay, so back to remove. Now I think I've done some bad things to the image underneath, and I've cut bits out of it by mistake. So I do try and undo that, but eventually I just think, let's just get the video made. So there we go. That's me cutting out bits of those images. That looks cool. I do think I mess around for a little bit here, trying to involve other layers, and then I give up. Yeah, I do. This is daft. Right, so what I try to do is get these letters over, because I decide that there's not enough black in this image. Black's very powerful in graphic design. It really anchors the design. It breaks it up. It draws the eye. Black is very, very important to use in most graphic design. As Muka's work is a testament to. Right, now, what was my idea here? I think all I wanted to do was use the cutout tool to get rid of the white background. But it just... Oh, I know what's happened. It switched layers or something on me. Oh, there, no, I've just cut everything out by mistake. So at this point, I think I've spent enough time in this. Well, this is a really rambling video, by the way, people. I didn't realise this was going to be so bad. Sorry about this. Quality of teachings really gets downhill at this time of day. Right, there we go. Come on, Mr. Sheridan. There we are. Right, so here we have an image. Yes, I've decided at last to save it. So, JPEG, as you know, give it a name. I think give it a name instead of sticking with that file name. So BLM 1. I always call my documents 1 because I always assume that I'm going to do more to them and I don't want to get confused. So download. Brilliant. Right. So now back onto Pages. And I can just... I do think about working with this. And so what I'm going to do is add my new image that I've just created. And then I remembered that I've not downloaded it yet, so I need to go into my files. And I'll see it there, so I just select it. And you remember, top right-hand corner, that wee box with the arrow sticking out of it. Hit that, save it. And then it's in your photos, so now I can stick it on there. Then I'm going to go to the paintbrush. I'm going to go to Instant Alpha. and I'm going to get rid of the background. So there we go, no white background, great. And now I've realised that this is lettering, in the black BLM it's lettering, not an image, so I can't resize it as easily. So I'm just getting rid of that, and then I'm bringing it back in as an image. There we go, much easier to work with. And things can start getting interesting now at last. So look, here we are starting to overlap and layer these letters. I'm just going to switch the order of them there. Okay, cool. Now, you can see in the B the faults that I made. I've taken out too much of the image. Now, you might think, oh, that's a bad mistake. No, what I see is possibility there. So what I do, I'm enjoying layering them up. I think the shadow idea is a little bit too obvious. So I'm resizing these letters to avoid it looking too much like a shadow. And then I'm just unconstraining the proportions there so I can play around with it a little bit further. So now it's looking a bit more like abstract shapes, which I'll want. So I'm going to stick a shape in here as well. So I spend a wee bit of time looking for a shape, but I just want something simple, geometric. Now I've got a lot of black and white in here, so I think colour really works alongside, limited colour works very well alongside black and white. Sometimes one key colour alongside black and white can be pretty good for that. I'm a big fan of the black-yellow combination, so I've just gone for the first yellow I can see. In a trapezium, I've stuck that in the layer underneath, so there we go. So it's in between the two layers now, creating a bit of depth, and I just quite like the graphic that creates. The wee gaps that I've cut into those image are now more visible. If it doesn't contain meaning, it at least suggests meaning, I would say. So visually, I think that's pretty good. It looks sophisticated. It looks like proper graphics. So I've taken a wee screenshot. Always screenshot. I think you guys are pretty good at that. Save to photos, and then I'll just open it in my... I always do this as well at home when I'm working and stuff. I look at it in photos so that I can stand back from it and not have anything else on the screen. If you tap the screen, you get the background. There we go, people. I hope that is useful for you.